Imperial Valley Press article, Sunday, August 17th, 2008, titled, Remembering the Salton Sea's Glory Days. Blue Gem Showed Promise by Ruth Brooken. Shirley Palmer decided to come through the mountains separating Imperial and San Diego counties on her way to visit her parents because it seemed the most direct route to their home in the Imperial Valley. As she got to the top of the mountains, she saw something she would distinctly remember 50-some years later. Quote, I came up over the rise and couldn't believe in the middle of the bare desert was this beautiful blue gem, she said. The blue gem that Palmer saw was the Salton Sea, the largest inland body of water in California. The future of the Salton Sea is uncertain, but in the 1950s and 60s, the Salton Sea area was well used by visitors. Quote, you had visitors from all over the world, England, Australia, Japan, China, Russia, Palmer said, a member of the West Shore's Chamber of Commerce of the Salton Sea. Movie stars also utilized the sea because it was a getaway where they could remain anonymous, said Palmer, a 54-year resident of the area. The Marx Brothers, the Beach Boys, and Sonny Bono were a few of the sea's visitors, according to Steve Horvitz of Salton Sea State Park, speaking on the, quote, Plagues and Pleasures of the Salton Sea documentary. I saw that movie. It's pretty good. During the heyday of the sea, there was much more recreational use of the sea, Palmer said. It was used for boating, fishing, swimming, and a variety of other recreational activities. Quote, by the 1950s, all manner of recreational pursuits had been promoted, including hunting, swimming, boating, water skiing, birding, and hiking. With the recreational enthusiasts came other kinds of tourists, and with the tourists came hotels, resorts, restaurants, marinas, and a state park. According to a pamphlet prepared by the Salton Sea Restoration Project titled History and Culture of the Sea. In the Plagues and Pleasures documentary, Harold Gaston reflects on the 1960s when there were 8 boat landings that launched 50 to 100 boats a day. As Norm Niebuhr, a longtime Salton Sea resident, sat in his yard looking at the sea, he said, I used to wake up here during the fishing season and see 50, 60 boats here pulling in fish. According to a pamphlet prepared by the Salton Sea Authority titled Debunking the Myths, quote, press reports from the 1960s highlight the popularity of the sea as a recreational destination. Complaints about overcrowding and conflict between boats and swimmers on the 350-plus square mile lake were common. With all the recreation came a need for people to stay overnight, and RV parks were part of the solution. Palmer owned an RV park in the area from 1954 to 1996 and remembers having RVs lined up to get a spot in the park. During the 50s and 60s, there also were developers trying to sell lots in the area. In an attempt to do so, they would bus and fly visitors to the area to look at the land, Palmer said. Visitors also would be charmed with barbecues, Christmas parades, pageantry competitions, and Howdy Neighbor Days. Palmer said her husband remembers receiving flyers for these different activities from those who were attempting to sell the lots. Niebuhr said that in 1955, corvina, a type of fish, was introduced into the sea, and this encouraged droves of fishermen to come to the sea. Quote, cars were backed up to the highway, he said. At that time, Niebuhr worked for the Salton Sea State Park and recalls that visitation was great, and at one time was higher than that of Yosemite National Park.